What were you teaching there?
I was teaching core and elective mathematics.
You're a maths man?
Yeah.
Hey, and your English is sharp like this.
I
thought maths people, you just put the algebra, differentiation, calculus, and then you're gone.
They are so sweet.
Yeah, I know, right? It just shows that you're an intelligent man. And then also, the Deputy Communication Officer of the opposition NDC is right here, Malik Basintali. Malik has promised today not to use phrases like mother serpent of corruption, if witches, something, 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 and then listen to wisdom. So, Malik Basintali, if witches, Johnny said what? Witches surrounded by Holy Ghost fire. Malik Basintali, good morning to you.
Even Baumia is promising one constituency, 10 appointments.
Yeah, I heard that one.
So if I promise and I don't deliver, forgive me.
You have to deliver.
Yes.
But let's take some insights from the president. And possibly, we'll also display the rates. That is, if the Ghana cedi and how it is performing, either being stagnant against the US dollar is related, what the housing scheme and the houses that will be built will be like. But first from the president, and I will tell you those rates that you have to pay for what we now going to know as the affordable homes or houses.
Additional financing to the tune of 46 million United States dollars to complete the off-site infrastructure works. 68 million United States dollars are required to complete the buildings and other essential on-site infrastructure works.
And subsequently, we have the housing units and how they're going to cost. So let's put them on the screen again, just to apprise you of what they will be. So per unit, we're going to have the lowest being a studio apartment, 13,000 US dollars, with the current rates to the Ghana cedi going to translate to 165,600 in excess. If it's a one bedroom, 20,700 US dollars, translating into Ghana cedis, 248,400. Cookie has already said he's booking for 3. Two bedroom, 34,500, going to cost 414,000 Ghana cedis. 3 bedroom, 42,550 US dollars, translating to 510,600 Ghana cedis. Now, my director, Oliver Lawson, is asking, I should ask a question. Why is it being priced in dollars? But listen, how many are you taking?
Good morning, Roland. Good morning to your production crew. My brother, Basintali, the Deputy Communications Director of the NDC. And good morning to our viewers. How many am I taking? We pushing such that one person cannot take so many because the housing gap is about 1.8 million as housing units as stated by His Excellency the President, and the rate at which we are getting urbanization about 3.3%, and so you need to push that we have enough houses there. We know there are houses that have been built in prime areas in most of the cities, but they are beyond the reach of the ordinary. The bracket of the 60% that need housing that the president stated, and it's also stated that about 35% of the people, even if government comes in to intervene, will have it extremely difficult to even afford housing. There's a 5% bracket that can afford what is operating. You go to cantonments, there are houses there, but you know most of them are empty. If you've passed there, you would have seen some of them. Fortunately, this government has been able to get companies like Deftraco that has been building in the prime areas to come into this sector, the affordable housing sector, which is something good. Ordinarily, they wouldn't have done that because of the nature of the costs that they're going to incur and then the returns on that. So fortunately, government has been able to engage them properly. 4 local building companies that are participating in this, with 1 foreign company from Morocco. That is also
What's the name?
Participating. It's called Duja Promotions Adoha Group Limited from Morocco.
Adoha Group.
Adoha Group.
Based in Morocco.
Yes, from Morocco, that has come to participate. And so as we go, we will explain why some are making the argument this thing is not been sent to Parliament yet, and yet the President is going to cut the set for that. Once about 4 local companies, I don't think they need parliamentary approval. And so when the sod is cut, they can commence constructions while the minister makes the move to get a foreign company through 18115 to get parliamentary approval. So that is of course. Why are we pricing them in dollars? The president stated that because you yourself in your intro spoke about the fluctuating exchange rate regime. And so to give assurance to the investors who are participating in the arena or in the sector or in this housing project that their returns is guaranteed. It is proper that you get a more stable currency, which is the internationally or globally accepted currency, which is the dollar, to be the basis for the denomination or pricing of the housing unit. And what the government has done is to agree with the companies that these are the prices as you placed on your screens, and this price, none of the contractors is going to price any of the units beyond these agreed ones. And you know it's going to take 18 months to finish the phase 1, which is going to be about 4,000 housing units, and then another 18 months to finish phase 2, which is also another 4,000 housing units, making the total of 8,000 on a 203-acre land in the Pokwasi enclave. And there are other ancillary things that are going to be added to it to make living in that enclave more comfortable for the people who would decide to relocate or acquire some of the homes there. And so that is one cool thing that I think should be cool. I say one cool thing, the environment, the ambience that is going to be created so that people within the enclave wouldn't have to come all the way to Novotel to have swimming and other exercise.
George,
so
let me ask you this. George, let me ask you this. Since you're coming from the corridors of power, you seem to have a lot of information about this. What does the Ministry of Works and Housing term affordable? And who are the target Ghanaians who these houses are going to be affordable to? Yeah,
thank you. One, as part of the agreement, the participants, which is the construction companies, wanted if we can get an off-taker agreement therein. Off-taker means the guaranteed people who are going to take the homes, okay? Fortunately, government has been able to get the trade unions to come on board, willing to participate and get some of their members to get some of them. Yes, in our ordinary terms, if you are looking at affordable housing per the housing standards in the mortgage environment, not more than between 30 to maximum of 40% of one's income should be used in paying mortgage. And so if that is the case, then you would ask, okay, how many Guinean workers can have enough if we are paying $20,000 for a one-unit apartment, and you know people are doing the conversion at current rates and co. It's high. Or 2-bedroom, we're looking $34,500, and then 3-bedroom, we are looking at $42,550. So how can you say that is affordable? You know, we have. If you are engaging with the bank sometime, they will ask you, you state your income, your salary, and then at some point they'll ask you, is there any additional income that you make? You get it? And you going to state it there. And so there are people who are engaged, they are doing government works, but they are engaged in other business.
Let's say people of your kind, your stature, are you one of those who have been targeted?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Please put the pricing on the
other-
screen for me.
Yes,
George,
yes.
relax.
Okay,
Relax.
okay.
You didn't come here to heckle me, right?
Oh.
George, relax. Please put the pricing on the screen for
This
me.
is a major issue, so
No,
I'm
no.
excited
So George,
about it. Yes.
per what you earn,
Yes.
whether your normal work and then your
Yes.
which of these can you afford? If, let's say, the house was on sale, just tell me, George, Mr. George AC, in your
Which
nice
one?
English, please, which one do you think you can afford?
Maybe, but listen, maybe
With a down payment
maybe
and a mortgage and all that. Tell me.
Maybe with my own salary, maybe I cannot immediately say I
Please
can
put
afford
it down.
the three-
He's
the
still
three-
watching the pricing. Please put it
No,
on.
I know them. I've quoted the prices.
No, don't
to
worry.
you.
We want to show you. This is evidence.
So, but once I have a partner, me and my partner can decide that, okay, based on this, we are going for the 3-bedroom house. And then based on my salary
The
and her
510,000
salary,
Ghana cedi.
I say, me and my partner may decide that we are going for that. And so based on what I earn and what she earns, we are going to pool resources together to ensure that we pay for the mortgage over the period, okay? Maybe it's going to be 10, 15-year or 20-year mortgage. Whatever the agreement is, you know, we'll be able to then do our computations to fit into either the 3-bedroom or the 2-bedroom because it's a family, okay? And so that is what we encourage people. Pool resources together beside your normal salary and then other things you do so that you can supplement your income and live in a comfortable place. We are saying the theme is my home, my peace, right? Everybody has that primary, every worker has that primary objective of getting their own homes by the time they retire, so they can go and live there with their families. And so this is a good move. And look, this price is even so because government has subsidized, okay? The land is not added to the cost. The infrastructure that is going to be done there is not added to the cost. Okay, that has been absorbed by government. Government is committing about $50 million to do those things, okay? And so that is the primary thing, and that has not been added to this cost that we are seeing.
So the government of Ghana's
yes.
component, which is our money,
Yes.
commitment towards this project is $50 million US.
Yes, about $50 million.
Please be precise. You are communicating
Yes,
to the
no,
whole-
$50 million.
Around 50 million.
Yes,
Ghana
yes,
cedis.
$50 million.
Did you seek parliamentary approval?
Oh, come on. This is a local part. This government of Ghana
Or you are
project.
committing money? Or
Yes, we are it's local construction. What we are doing is government is committing around this $50 million. Then the private participants, these 5 companies, are then going to raise their money to boot up the 8,000 housing units, and then they sell it, you know, to get their monies back. That is what we're doing. And the 5th company that is involved, the Moroccan company, which is Duja Promotion Adoha Group Limited, its participation must be taken to Parliament, and government is going to do that. The minister will table that motion in Parliament for Parliament to discuss and approve, okay? And it doesn't mean because of that one company, the other 4 participants should sit aloof and do nothing and wait till that parliamentary approval is gotten before construction begins. That's why the president feels, okay, let's cut the tape, let these 4 players begin their work, whilst we do the needful to get the 5th participant to also get to work, so that we make progress, because we are working within time to get housing units for our people. Don't forget, 1.8 million housing units are needed. That's the gap, okay? And this is 8,000. The Saglemi is about 1,500, okay? Initially targeted to be 5,000. I believe we will touch on that as we go. And so that is it. Even these 2 doesn't play up to any substantial status for what we need. And so this is a good thing that I think the president, and government is doing. Let me commend the Bantama Akrachi Asensu Buachi, the Honorable Minister, for this bold initiative. And it's good for all of us. It's good for all of us.
Malik, you did hear the response of the president on why Saglemi cannot be put back on track and be completed on time. What do you make of the president's own response towards that? Because it looks to be a recurring concern among many of our viewers.
First of all, I don't know what Mr. Akufo-Addo wants with Saglemi or any other housing unit as commenced by the NDC. In fact, as we speak today, there was the new Labadi Villas that was constructed by the NDC. There was supposed to be a continuation. Nobody is speaking about that. There was the Nyamidua Estates at Pong, 5,000 housing units. About 240 were completed. There was supposed to be a phase 2, phase 3 of that project. Nobody seems to care. Saglemi. And sometimes, when I listen to President Akufo-Addo, there are so many questions I ask myself. And I wonder who briefs him on matters of this sort. One, the president yesterday stated that you needed some 46 million to complete Saglemi. And that he could not afford that because it was too expensive. In excess of 100 million, actually. I mean, that was the first quote. That was for one. And then the 60 million. Absolutely. It was partitioned, and that's the point I'm making. That was what the president stated. That was what he needed. Now, there's a man called David Ajayi.
You mean the one who designed the cathedral?
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a distinguished
architect. He took a pen and paper and drew the plan of the National Cathedral on the paper and asked the government to pay him 113 million. In less than 48 hours, the government raised 113 million to pay David Ajayi for a pen and paper to just draw. Yet President Akufo-Addo says he cannot raise a first tranche of about 40 million to complete Saglemi. Mind you, Saglemi has been under investigation. Per their checks, they claim that there were matters of corruption in the deal that was signed. And the question we keep asking is that you have been in office for 6 to 7 good years. That single project has been under investigation for 6 to 7 years. No rot found, no dent found in that project. Every day you come with new figures, you accuse the NDC of different things, and people keep asking you. The last time you media reporters went there, and I've watched an entire documentary on Saglemi, the drainage that they claimed was unavailable was seen by you media watchers. There was a joint news report on it, done by Parker. It was available. You claimed the electricity was not connected to RET. Fine. You have been in office for 7 good years. What have you done in that particular project? Not a single corrupt practice has been unraveled in that particular deal. And not a single prosecution has been undertaken in that entire Saglemi housing project. Yet you sit down, you have abandoned it, you have left it. Look at beautiful buildings. Look at them. That is what your camera is showing. Very beautiful buildings. This was the plan the NDC under President Mahama had for the Ghanaian worker. Very affordable. At that time, when a dollar was changing for about 4 Ghana cedis, these houses were less than $20,000. These houses, 3 bedroom, 4 bedroom. At that time, they were relatively affordable to whoever. Today, you have left these buildings, the roofs have been destroyed, the roofing sheets are tattered, in fact, the last time you media men went there, even cables that were connected in this house have been chopped off.
Some of them stolen by
people. In fact, some of the rooms there were being occupied by cattle, some by sheep, some by fowls. And we are not questioning President Akufo-Addo why we have caused such huge financial loss to the state. Are you aware that to go back to these projects, you will need a huge sum to be able to fix all these things that have been depleted again? And you have abandoned it, claiming you are starting a new project. In other words, which project are we discussing here? I want to know. Which project? Which project? Because I would discuss a legal project as passed by Parliament. As of today, nothing has been passed. Nothing is in Parliament. There's an international contractor, and you rightly stated it, that's Doha Construction Limited. Have you read Article 181? Do you know what it takes to go into international agreements? If you've cited it, then you should have known that this deal ought to have been in Parliament. It went to Parliament. The simple question the committee asked you as a government was how you arrived at this pricing. How much the land cost, how much the drainage is going to cost, and all other factors. You could not give answers to this. And that was how come this entire document was taken off the committee level. Yesterday, the ranking member was speaking, and he enumerated all the facts as enshrined in this particular agreement, and concluded by stating that whatever documents were brought to Parliament could not have been passed by the Parliament because they were inaccurate, they were incomplete, and they could not prove and justify whatever was in this entire deal they were signing. And that was how come it was rejected. Then you quickly rush there, you take a tape, you cut short, and you say you are starting a project. What happened to other construction projects that swords were cut under their regime? What has happened to them? Which of them? Agenda 111. When was sword cut? Mention a single hospital that has been completed under that regime. If you remember, when the president was cutting, he said in 18 months, they will be cutting sword for inaugurating some of the hospitals.
You mean the first 88?
The first 88.
In April 2020.
In April 2020. He said in 18 months. He has repeated same 18 months in this particular deal. How many years does the president have to leave office? Tell me. Today, we are less than 8. I mean, virtually, I think less than 18 months to leave office. And then you go to cut short for a project for who to come and complete it. So that a new government comes and then a burden is pushed on him. No funding, nothing. And then you go to town again saying that, I mean, you started projects and another government has come and nobody has completed it. Look, Roland, we have a housing deficit. But all the Ghanaian people are asking you is for you to stabilize the economy. If salaries are increased, if inflation is brought down, if cost of goods and services in the market is relatively stable, I believe rent will not be an issue. If you remember, in 2021, a rent scheme was launched. Do you remember? By Malam Baumia. Do you remember? Rent scheme.
You mean
was by Malam Baumia. A rent scheme was launched. Tell me a single person who has benefited from that scheme. A single person who has benefited from the rent scheme as launched by Malam Baumia. Nothing. You go to town, you cut short for things, you state things. On the day this rent scheme was being launched, okay, the day it was launched, if you went on their website, they copied Deftraco, okay, people who had benefited from Deftraco scheme, and then they copied the same people and put it on their website on the day the scheme was being launched. So on that day, somebody was testifying how he took rent and how it was benefiting him. On the day the project was being launched, that was where I knew that if Malam Baumia greets you good morning, look up before you respond. Nothing will come out of this particular deal. And so we are pleading on you, refocus your energies on what your predecessor commenced. Why? The NDC was in power. President Mahama was in power for 4 years. Why? Don't you know of the new Labadi Villas that was completed and handed over before we left office? Don't you know of the Adenta SHC projects or so that were completed and handed over before we left office? Don't you know of the Pong? I just stated the Nyamidua estates at Pong that was completed. 240 buildings were completed. This was a man who had a vision for this country. This was a man who was poised to fix the housing deficit of this country. And these were the projects we commenced and finished them before we left office. You have been in office 7 good years. Not a single room has been constructed.
When you interact with the former minister, that's Atachi, and then the current minister, they will tell you, while the former ministers and then the chief director, of course, are in court on the subject of Saglemi, they said that per the contract that was brought to Parliament, being the master agreement, there was an alteration to the agreement without recourse to Parliament, and that had led to varying of the specifications of the project, and that is why Saglemi was made to, I won't say rot, but left to sit idle.
You see,
and now it's reached a very deterioration point. That's the excuse that is
I will explain this issue one more time.
Please explain it.
Everybody will get the understanding of this entire thing. Before I start, by the time I complete, I will want him to give me one clause in the Constitution that says that when a contract implementation is being varied, it should be brought back to Parliament for approval. One clause in the Constitution. The Constitution speaks about international agreements. The Constitution speaks about international loans. And that was laid in Parliament as far back as 2013 and was approved by the House. No doubt about that. Yes. That project was supposed to be in 3 tranches. When the Honorable Collins Dauda took over, the only variation that was done in this entire deal was that from 3 tranches, it was extended to 4 tranches. Nobody altered the values in this particular contract. Besides that, before every contract is passed, and I want him to listen attentively, there's what we call a value for money audit that is conducted. Under no circumstance was that particular provision breached in the award of this particular contract. Again, you people have taken Honorable Collins Dauda to court. Which contract did Honorable Collins Dauda sign? Which contract? Which contract did Honorable Collins Dauda sign in that particular agreement? Which contract? Honorable Collins Dauda took over from the Honorable E.T. Mensah. When he came into office, whatever was available was whatever was implemented. Tell me where the Works and Housing Minister pays a contractor. The monies were with the Ministry of Finance. All the Housing Minister does is to go and inspect the state of the project, is to issue payment certificates, and payments are done by the Finance Minister. So you took a man who knew nothing and did nothing about this entire deal or this entire contract to court over a deal that has no bearing on corruption at all. And I have stated, when your Pokwasi interchange, do you remember it was changed from a 3-tier to a 4-tier?
Yes,
when it was
the original design.
The original design.
The
absolutely.
That was.
They should tell me where the approval was made. The Pokwasi interchange, it was changed. The president stood there and stated that it was changed. And so we don't sit here, you sit here and you are shouting ignorance, ignorance. But I am giving you an opportunity. State one constitutional clause and state an event where an implementation of a contract was taken back for reapproval. What are you going to approve again? When there's a value for money audit being undertaken, when you are still staying within the remits of the monies that was given to you, when you can defend, and at every stage you can prove the monies that were given were used in this particular project, you are going back to Parliament to do what? You should state it and tell me one.
Well, there are key issues that are being asked by some of our viewers. For example, Amuda Hamidu is very much concerned that there are other ongoing projects. For example, the La General Hospital that was pulled down under the Agenda 111, initially not part of the Agenda 111, but now indirectly roped into it, has still remained uncompleted. And then he also said there's woeful misapplication of the taxpayers' funds. Look at the Bank of Ghana, for example. The misuse of Ghana's taxes and money for vehicle maintenance, etc. That should take the priority of government. So the question then.
Services budgets.
Okay, great. So the question is, if a project, no matter how expensive it will be, but has reached a certain completion stage, has been left to deteriorate, but would need to be completed, shouldn't it take the attention of government? And specifically, I'm referring to the Saglemi project.
Yes.
If you look at the current state of the project, shouldn't that rather be completed before you start a new one? Look at this beautiful housing units that have been put together. Shouldn't they be a priority before you start a new one, whether it's a public-private partnership or not? Mr. George,
government is on it. Okay, look, let's deal with the matter proper. There's nothing wrong having a concurrent construction going on alongside Saglemi. Is there anything wrong? Especially looking at the housing gap of 1.8 million housing units, okay? So what it is that government is engaged the private sector to come and participate in that, okay? That's very important. And two, it's very instructive to know that if you go to Parliament and Parliament approves a ceiling of $200 million for 5,000 housing units, and for any reason, the price you're going to construct the housing units at goes beyond that $200 million. You need to go back there, okay? That's exactly what they did with Saglemi. 5,000 housing units was to cost $200 million. Then you construct 1,500 units, okay, at almost 200, not $196 million. It means you have increased the price more than the 200 million. That is what you have done. And you need to go back there and tell them what we did with Pokwasi. We varied it, and the price was within what Parliament had approved. What are we talking about? We had not increased the price beyond
you're saying there are
Parliament.
differences?
There are differences. We had not increased the price beyond what Parliament had approved. That is how come when we're going for this supplementary budget. We said it was a statement, and there was not going to be debate because we're not coming to ask for more money. We are going to operate within what money you have approved for us. And then the Honorable Dr. Kesiala Forces was saying, no, if you are going to vary the road construction from Esikuma to Ejumako, then if it's going to, the cost is going to go down. You need to come back because if you reduce that, it means that construction cannot go on well. We say, no, that is not the matter. Okay? So please, let's come to the Saglemi issues. Look, the government, look, I'm not trying to, but it's worrying. I'm also worried because, look, there was some
it doesn't look like anybody.
No, government is interested
because
in
the president the president at this event, Mr. A,
yes,
did say that because of the cost over 40 million,
yes,
600 million US dollars. It is better to look at this one than to look at this one, and that you'll find money for this. Is that not what he said? And I've interacted with the minister himself. And I've interacted with the minister himself. Yes. And the minister did say that, look, there's no way government is going to sanction.
In court because of Saglemi.
Government is going to sanction the rehabilitation or completion of the project because of the sums involved.
Yes, the cost involved as we speak. Even now. You were worried that even the subsidized price of 50 million government is going to commit for infrastructure and cool. This is costing 20, 34, 42. You get it, or 43. And so it is on the high side. And look, even that's 50. 200 million has already been sunk into Saglemi. Another $114 million is needed. Facts, this thing. We need 46 million required for off-site infrastructure. That's water, electricity, and storm drains. And then we need 68 million required for the completion of the 1,506 housing units, okay? To add to the 200 that has already been sunk into it. That is going to blow up the cost, and then that's how can we say, okay, we need a private participant. Because if government does this, and government is selling, and one is going to cost about $50,000, what is the ordinary man going to say? Because government is selling a cutthroat price, okay? So if we can get a private participant, let a private participant wait in, and then at his own cost, sell it and get his money.
So government is investing 50 million, you say?
In the Pokwasi one. Yeah, I stated that already.
So why didn't we just go for another 50 million, add to the current 50 million, and then we complete Saglemi?
The 1,500 and the 8,000 units. And I've made the argument, what do you lose if you get a private participant to complete this Saglemi thing? And then government concentrates on the 8,000. Are we not getting 8,000 plus 1,500, 9,500 units? Is that not going to help the problem, the issues? Okay, so please, the issues, I know for a fact that the Honorable Collins Dowda, one of my favorite MPs, okay, is in Parliament. Is in court. So why are you worried over the Saglemi matter? So let's allow the court processes to go.
We shouldn't be worried about Saglemi. Is that what?
No. I mean,
if you look at the state of the buildings, then.
No, he is saying nobody. Well, and then later he came in and said, Collins Dowda, he's got no leanings to the Saglemi matter. That's why I'm saying, why is he worried then? Because court is a due process. So let the court go through his processes. If he knows nothing about it, he'll be exonerated and acquitted. Okay? So why are you worried? Let's focus on the matter proper. It is more expensive. And Roland, look, as we sit here, there's affordable housing started by His Excellency John Ajekum Kufuor in Koforidua, in Kumasi, in other places. I think even Pong also. They are all lying there. Okay? All of us, I will take the blame for all of us. Because from Kufuor's time, the NDC had come into power and we have also come. And most of them are not completed yet. So it's not the best. Whilst we are doing this, let's, take a seat
are you
back
not,
and then go and look at that and complete
are you
those
not
ones
indicting
as well?
yourself?
Why am
as
I
a
indicting myself?
Because you are saying that
No, we need to touch on
from
and
the
complete
Kufuor
all of them.
administration,
Yes.
we have
The NDC have been there 8
buildings
years.
that have not been
They didn't even
completed.
mind
We
them.
have backlog.
Yes.
And then we have a backlog of Saglemi.
Yes.
And then we are starting another one.
There's no problem with that.
And you are saying
because
that
the deal is
but
good.
but it makes a lot of
why
sense
not?
for you.
And that is a private sector. No, another point my brother
Missed.
Basantal
Is
made. Made was that why is it that we have about 18 months to go and we are going to construct a house that, the Kufuor government has 18 months to go, so why is it? Look, this arrangement, that's why the Minister of Works and Housing said that this is different. This one is a private sector driven. Government does this infrastructure and co, and the rest is left. Whether President Kufuor is gone and the next MPP government takes over or they come or whatever, the project continues because things have been put in. The contractors bear responsibility and liability for the continuation and construction.
It is a George,
so please,
George will kill me. George,
this is not going to be like the Saglemi thing that is, we're saddled with a go. But I am very confident that because we are getting a private participant, the Saglemi thing will be complete. But it's come at a too high a cost, okay? And so for government to go and delve in that, and then we'll give it to people and they'll say,
have you passed through that stretch and seen the Saglemi? What goes through you?
I've been to Bato recently.
So what goes through you when you see those buildings deteriorating?
No.
For 7 years they've been left to deteriorate.
No, I'm worried that any housing that is started by government. That's why I've made it consistently. That there's nothing wrong building both concurrently. I've told you I'm a mathematics guy, and we do simultaneous equations. Right. Okay, so you solve them continuously, concurrently. It is possible. Okay. Once we get a private participant to get in there,
Lydia Bweki says I should pull this to you.
Please,
and Helena, I'm reading some of your comments. He says Ghanaians are hungry. He said we are hungry and suffering, and you don't care but pushing for a new project.
Oh, so why? This government, in spite of the difficulties and when has this government said people have worked for 24 months, we are cutting it and not paying them, we'll pay them only 3 months? This government has never done that, in spite of the difficulties we're going through. People didn't go through these kind of challenges, and yet they did those things to Ghanaian workers. Okay, we had never said because people didn't go to school, stayed at home, we are not going to pay them. No. We, in the difficult times, we are pushing on, and projects are also going on. You get it? So, my sister, rest assured that this government is putting things. The minister just read a mid-year budget review and said we have turned the curve. Right. And that is forward-looking. Let's come together and we will overcome
says that the long and short of the matter is that it looks like government won't do anything about Saglemi.
No. We said we've gotten private, we're working on private parties. There's been survey, a team, committee has worked on it, everything. So we are getting a private participant to go and complete it. And this is how much they would need to complete it. Look, 200 billion already sunk into it. We need $140 million to again sink into that. Are the Ghanaians who are writing telling me that if we go and push that in and then we leave this one, 1,500 people will get accommodation, right? Then what happens to the remaining 8,000 people who ordinarily have gotten more if 50 million had been put in there? Okay? There's nothing wrong getting the private participant to get in. And I would rather the Minister for Works and Housing pushes faster for the private participant to get in and begin work.
Ms. McMensan says we seem to have misplaced priorities.
It's not. It's not misplaced. It's not.
All right.
Okay, and the last one, please. The National Rental Assistance, my brother should go and find out. People are benefiting from it. People are making use of it and benefiting from it. If you decide that for propaganda effect, you are not going to look at it.
Who's doing propaganda?
My brother is not going to look at it and then go into the thorough details to know what the benefits are.
Malik,
and it's his own cup of tea.
Malik, in trying to analyze all this and all the observations you've made with this new announcement, which government says supposed to be complementary, alongside finding a partner for Saglemi, what are the sticking points for you that gives you worry?
First of all, let me take him through what the Saglemi agreement entailed.
I know.
One, 200 million was to be used to construct 5,000 housing units. Yes. That is a fact.
Yes. I think we all know that.
Right. Now, 200 million was used in constructing 1,500 units. Mm-hmm. That is what you say. There is what we call a plowback agreement.
No.
200 million was not supposed to be used in constructing the entire 5,000 housing units.
Please, can you
listen? When you were speaking, I allowed you. Now I'm taking you through. You see,
that's not
that
true.
Is why. That is why. Please. That is why. That is why. I mean, I gave you all the time. That is why when I'm speaking and you are laughing, I tell you to stop laughing.
We have too much to quickly
now. I tell you to stop laughing and listen so that you don't interject me. 200 million was a plowed-back agreement that was supposed to be used in constructing 1,500, after which 1,500 will be rented, and the money is used in constructing the next. So if Parliament approved 200 million, it was because the company was not going to go back to Parliament for another money or another tranche or another extra money in completing the 5,000 units. The 200 million that was approved was going to be used throughout, and we called it a plowed back agreement. Take this, learn it, and don't repeat it again. Number two, you claim the president, there was no need for a parliamentary approval before he cut short, and there were local contractors. Mention one local contractor that's going to finance this policy. One local contractor, mention one that's financing it. Mention one. Tell me, which one? Mention one that is financing. So now let me explain to you.
State housing.
Now let me explain to you.
Dev Traco is there. From Paul's Ventures, Company Limited.
So relax.
4 local companies.
So this is where you fall. This is the parliamentary hazard that was laid yesterday. No, 2 days ago. It says, that's by the chairman of the committee, the report of the Committee of Works and Housing on the EPC/Tunke contract agreement between the government of Ghana, represented by the ministry, and Doja Promotion Group at Doha for an amount of 56 million. All these companies you mentioned are not going to invest a penny in this contract. Oh, please listen. The entire agreement, the financing is coming from Doha.
No.
Listen, this is the answer.
Read this. A foreign company.
Please, read this.
That's
what
goes to Parliament.
Oh, read this.
Come on.
Finance it. Read this.
You are bigger than
Please,
this.
Read this. Listen, read this. Read the agreement.
That's a foreign company.
Read the agreement, please.
And
read the
investment.
You know, yesterday, yesterday I went through this.
So read it. Read it. This is where you fall. You read this. When you sit and laugh, you don't make sense. So listen.
You know that the former deputy housing minister, as well as the member of Parliament, Samsia, he had been raising concerns because this agreement had been in Parliament, but was yet to be laid before the House. So he says the report.
Oh, read it. Oh, can you allow them read it? You sit and you are laughing. When they are exposing you, you interjected.
No. Can I?
He's talking and you are allowing him to talk.
This is not my time.
Please, let me.
Read it.
So the report of.
Now you know that not all laughter is good. Please read it.
Mr. Isi.
Why are you jittery?
Mr. Isi.
Me jittery.
Read it. Let him read it.
He's talking. Mention his name.
Mr. Isi, can I read this? It's not your turn to make a submission.
So if he's talking, tell him to stop.
Report of the committee. It's not your turn to make a submission, Mr. Ayese. The report of the Committee on Works and Housing on the EPC Tenki contract between the government of the Republic of Ghana, represented by the Ministry of Works and Housing, and the Doja Promotion Group at Doha for an amount of $56,856,000 to finance the implementation of the National Affordable Housing Program and the revised redevelopment scheme. And this is our component, right?
Absolutely. So
this is our component.
Absolutely. That's the agreement. So bring it. This one. Can I have my time? So you see, when you have documents of this sort, if somebody
this wants... This is before Parliament.
Absolutely. If you have documents... Oh, can you allow me? If you have documents of this sort, and then you think your opponent will not give this out to read, and you sit and you are laughing like a hyena that has seen a widow's nipples, you will definitely be exposed when this is read to you. This was an agreement that was tabled before Parliament. So it was tabled before Parliament. Yes. The agreement has not been passed.
Yes. So that's why Francis Samson
came in, absolutely. Yeah. The agreement has been rejected. And then you sit here and say, without parliamentary approval, we can go ahead with the contract. Go ahead with which contract? When the company that's to invest 56 million has not been given clearance by parliament, you sit and say, we can go ahead. Go ahead with which contract? Which contract are you going ahead with? So please, you must learn parliamentary proceedings. And again, you said once there are local companies involved, you don't need anything from parliament. Who told you? Who told you that if it's a local agreement, you don't need to go to parliament for anything? Who told you that? Who educated you that way?
And who said that?
No matter what agreement it is,
said that?
once the people of the republic's money, once taxpayers' money is going to be committed in this, you will definitely have to go to parliament, and it has to be deliberated at various stages of parliament. Learn this again and don't repeat it again. Now, on the third point, on the deception, can you control him?
No, who said that?
You have 2 minutes.
No, you are control him.
Lies.
The guy is sitting there making noise. You're not controlling him.
Mr. Can you stop this lies?
When did I say that?
Mr. Please.
You sit here, I give you all the time, and then when I'm
There's a
delivering you,
categorical statement that has been made by a key member of the Works and Housing Committee.
Yes.
A former
this attitude, I don't like it at all.
Somebody who is
Why?
He's tagging something
When
on
you
me.
are speaking, write it down.
Listen to
Write it down and respond. When you are speaking, don't interject. What kind of behavior is this?
If you have any,
Do you I give you all the time to speak. When I'm speaking, you talk to me. Look, the deception. Let me come to this. The president was in Bolga. Read this. President Akufo-Addo
State Housing.
cut sword in Bolga.
This one was published as well.
120 houses in Bolga. He cut sword. 2019. Not even one trip of gravel has been taken to sites there. This is the deception of this government. This is the lies. Look, President Akufo-Addo went to Savannah. He cut sword for the construction of House of Chiefs. Not a single trip of chippings has been taken there. You just get up in the morning, you bath, you go about cutting swords, and you think that was what your predecessor was doing. Before President Mahama cut sword for any project,
what's your point?
He did not only ensure that there was parliamentary approval, he ensured that there was 30% mobilization already made available for that project. And that was how come we saw the construction of projects under the NDC to the extent that President Mahama was named the Commissioner and Infrastructure General in this country. Not that you just wake up, you sit on panel, you be laughing when your opponent is making a point, you be heckling, and then you get up one morning, you go about cutting swords, and you think that is how projects are going to be built. Please, we are asking you to go back to the projects that you have abandoned. The promises you made in your manifesto. You promised to build 350 new senior high schools. That is what the people of this country want to see. That is what they want to see, because that is what you promised the people of this country. You promised to build industrial parks in all the regions in this country. Not a single one has been constructed. That is what the people want to see. You promised to build extra hospitals. Not a single one, not one has been constructed under your government. And you wake up and then you go without parliamentary approval, game of gimmicks, and think that you can cut soft.
Isn't that you've come to the conclusion that this will not come to fruition? Because there's there are a number of private partners. Of course, we have the bigger one. And then we have Frank Paul, we have local contractors, Def Traco, and then we have Rehoboth.
Why? When the 100... can you allow me?
Me no feel.
You sit down when I'm making a point, you'll be laughing. When I'm making a point, you'll be laughing and interjecting. When is your time to you say nothing? You sit and be laughing like a hyena that has seen a widow's nipples. Please, 120 homes.
Who the heck are you?
Who the hell are you two?
Oh, please,
who the hell are you? When I'm speaking, you be interjecting. When I'm talking, you be laughing. Is that what they come to find out?
Let's be civil in our conversation.
And then you sit and you speak of even corruption. You are lucky I haven't mentioned your name in corruption.
Today I'm not taking a break on you.
You and your wife were all appointees on this government. Very immoral act.
And that's corruption.
Please, when 120 homes, 120 homes. When I say you laugh like a hyena that has seen a widow's nipples, you get you and you start.
Can I get in?
Because he's not here to say anything. You are not saying anything. You are interjecting me. How do I make my point?
You're overdoing it.
When 120 homes, sword was cut for 120 homes in Bolga. Were there no contractors? Were there no contractors in that project? Has a simple trip of gravel been taken there? When the regional House of Chiefs was being cut sword for in Damango, where there were no contractors, has one trip of sand been taken there? When the president was going about hoovering from region to region, promising to build industrial parks, were there no contractors? When he went to Mpaha, he went to Debra and cut sword for the inland port, was there no contractor there? When the president went to Cape Coast and they were hoovering that they were going to give them an airport, in fact, this one, it was Malam Baumia, said they were going to give them an airport and a landing and a harbor and all that. Was there no contractor? Which of these single projects have been made available? And I've already explained to you on this platform that the financing company, that is Doha from Morocco, needs parliamentary approval. That has not been given. 56 million has not been given clearance to be invested in this particular thing. So at the end of the day, what do you do in this?
Let me teach you.
And they talk and you'll be laughing. You teachers laughing the way you are laughing.
So
now,
please, Malik is enough.
You should go on.
Let's take to him. He's saying that
I'll give you 2 minutes.
Doha company is bringing $56 million. His thinking is that for the whole 8,000. It's not true. It's their component. If it's 56 million, mathematically, what he's telling the viewer is that the 8,000 housing units is going to cost $7,000 each.
All of them are building the 8,000.
Yes. No, but he is saying is the Doha money that is going to be used in the construction. So they are going to give the other
The various entities
It's
are
not
going
true. They are coming with their own money. The 56 million, because the Doha company is a foreign
So
company.
because they are coming, they don't need parliamentary approval.
No, that is why that one
It
is in
doesn't need to
parliament.
go to parliament.
It is in parliament.
The Trapo doesn't need to go to parliament.
It is in parliament.
Who told you that?
So allow that. The 56 million is not for Def Traco, it's not for Rehoboth, it's not for Frank Pauls,
Because
and it's not
they are
for
local
state
partners.
housing. Yes, they are using their own funding.
All right.
Okay? Please, let's get that clear. Your ignorance cannot be foisted on people who are listening to us.
You
Okay?
didn't know this
Anybody
commodity.
can just take
And
that
then you were
and
laughing.
do that analysis.
And I gave you the
Please.
parliamentary
And this government is
this thing.
committed. I
And you are
told you,
jittering now.
I had already said at the beginning that the foreign component
Malik,
will go to
Malik.
parliament. You get it? So that one, no problem.
Explain for me.
And that we cannot halt the whole process because one company must be in
We
parliament.
cannot halt the whole
Process because one company must go to parliament. It is there. They are working on it, okay? The other four will continue.
Right.
And then the systems put in place, whether this government of Nanado is there or another one of an MPP is continuing, the project will continue and end because it's private investment and they will want to recoup their money. There's off-taker agreement.
Point
The trade unions are in there. You saw the trade union Congress leader there when it was being commissioned. So
All right.
please, I know my
So,
boss,
can I-
Nagrat,
hold on, I have to come in.
leader
No,
and
you're
the
not
NAT
coming.
people are all in there.
No, he
You've-
started.
you've- you've-
Please.
I-
This is the third time, so I need to come.
I
So I need to come.
I'm
Yes,
moderating.
No, so
I'm moderating.
he started. Let me come in
I'm
last.
moderating.
Then you have gotten 3 bites, I've gotten 2 bites.
Malik
I just want
and
to-
I'm
I
moderating.
just want to correct
He
one or two
doesn't know.
impressions. Let me
Malik-
correct. Oh, can you give me my time?
He's just causing
You are laughing by heart
Okay,
here.
okay.
You are laughing by heart.
It's okay.
But if you don't
Can I
make
come in?
good points,
Can I make
you
this
will
point?
laugh.
So Malik,
Now,
Malik,
can I
Malik,
make
Malik,
this
listen to
I've
me, and then you see
told
also
you,
listen to
this
me.
exposed.
So let me come in.
56 million for
Please,
8,000.
Can I make my point?
please.
And why is
Let's-
STS?
Oh,
Hey,
can I make my point? You are giving him
Two
time. You're not allowing
million
me.
insurance
That's
paid for
not-
STS.
Let the tempest.
Look at that.
Let
2 million
the
insurance
tempest
was paid
calm
by
down.
John Mahama.
It's
Look
okay.
at that.
It's okay. The two of you, let the tempest calm down. You know,
Can I
usually
come
we
in?
say he's a very cool guy. Today,
Can I come in?
his
He's
temperature
jittery,
is high. He seems
and I'm
to be-
surprised.
And then,
Jittery.
and
You
then,
are
and then
confused. Can I come in?
and then
Can I come in?
the two of you are trading west. Please,
So can I come in?
let's cool down.
Yes, let me come in.
So